Bulls brush aside Lyon to make the quarterfinals. My name is Mark. Let's talk rugby. Defenses are on top early on in this one. Breakdown very competitive. Most kind of half breaks are coming from turnover ball. Then the Bulls, they win a penalty. Lyon going off the feet as they try to get another one of those turnovers. Bulls go up the line. Maul is halted by Lyon, so Bulls first of all go to 1-out runners. Then they go a bit wider from the ruck as they work it in field. They then decide to come back against the grain. We have a lovely cutout pass from Leroux, and it's a real peach. It finds the clerk, and he goes over in the corner. Houston adds the extras to make it 7-0. Bulls then have another great chance to extend their lead, but Aronson can't gather a quick kick through, and it looked like they had the line at their mercy. Either he would have gathered it and gone in, or he had support there as well. But Lyon then win a penalty from the resulting scrum, and they're able to exit. Bulls then mess up a line out, but it actually works out for them. They overthrow, the ball goes to ground. William hacks it through for Lyon, but straight into the breadbasket of Aronson, who counters. He had a fantastic game, by the way, for the Bulls. Just so lively, back to his devastating best, really. He goes through the gap, draws the cover, puts Papier under the post. Houston makes it 14-0 with the conversion. Kane Moody then breaks through a gap and gets within a couple of meters of the line, just in the shadow of the posts. Support arrives just in the nick of time, because it looked like he was going to get isolated as Lyon got players back. Recycled quickly, and Kutsia goes over to score. It's converted for 21-0. Then the quick thinking from Lyon gives them a little bit of a lifeline. They work up to within a couple of meters of the Bulls line. Bulls get pinged for not rolling away. Then the Bulls players switch off, as does actually the TV director, who's showing a replay. When we come back then to the live action, Lyon, through Pedrello, have already scored. He took a quick tap and went over to score. It's converted for 21-7. Soft score to give away really from the Bulls. It should have been switched on and played to the referee's whistle. Bulls, though, they respond immediately with Vermaak going over from close range. Conversion then restores that cushion that they had, 28-7. Lyon, they have a bit of revival then at the start of the second half. They've got a period of pressure. It comes to nothing. They knock on close to the line, but they're still coming forward. Ioane makes a nice break out wide. He kicks ahead. Pedrello is gathering it to go over to score when Kane Moody tackles high around the neck, kind of like a seatbelt tackle, and penalty try. Moody goes to the bin. It's 28-14. But it's the Bulls then who score next, despite being down to 14. They suck in the Lyon defense in the midfield. Some nice kind of dummy runners there. Creel then goes through a gap, and Willie Leroux has already worked his way out to the wing and got outside his man. He lovely support line from him. He collects the pass out wide and goes over to score in the corner. Conversion is missed. It's 33 points to 14. Bulls then, they go the length of the field with probably the try of the match. Set in motion first of all by Aronson's mazy run, and then onto Van der Merwe. We have Lowe, Smith, Steenkamp all involved before Papier finishes it off under the post. Great try there, converted for 40 points to 14. The tries keep on coming then. Bulls clearance gets charged down. Abraham goes over to score. Jackson misses the conversion. It's 40 points to 19. Lyon then throwing it around, looking to spark some kind of comeback, but then Creel reads a pass in midfield, juggles with it a little bit before gathering and goes under the posts. Converted for 47-19, and there should be no doubt about the result at this stage. Chris Smith then goes over for try number 8 for the Bulls. Some great work from Nizam Carr off the bench there. It's 2 really good carries from him. I think a tip-on pass as well in there. Converted for 54-19. Lyon then look like they're in behind for a consolation try, but Aronsa does really well to intercept, and then does even better to actually regather it, because if he hadn't, it might have been a card and potentially another penalty try, because there's one of those where he just sticks the one arm out, the ball pops up in the air, and he has the pace and the skills to regather it. Then we get the magic footwork from him as he dances down the touchline. Bulls recycle the ball. They move it from right to left, where the clerk finishes unchallenged, and conversion is missed, but it's 59 points to 19, and that was a full-time score. Bulls strolling into the quarterfinals. So let's have a quick look at some of the stats. So tries, 9 tries to 3. Bulls completely dominant on the scoreboard. There will be a little concern, I would say, about the 3 tries that they did concede, but because they switched off at times, and in this game it doesn't matter, but it's all about having that mindset all the time of being just completely switched on, because in a quarterfinal that potentially is going to be tighter. One silly error to give away like a free 7 points could be the difference between going into a semi-final or being knocked out. Then onto attack. So meters made 641 to 332. So Bulls again completely dominant in that. Clean breaks 18 to 8. Defenders beaten 32 to 21. A little bit closer. I definitely know that some of these stats are wrong, because it says offloads are 0-0, but there was definitely offloads involved in some of the Bulls scores. So I know that's absolutely not right. And I think we had it last night as well in the Harlequins and Glasgow game, where they said there were no line-out steals, but I know Glasgow stole at least a couple of them. Passes 101 to 117, and then territory was 50-50, but there was only one team really making the most of their territory. Defense then, tackles made 98 to 121. Tackle success 83 for the Bulls isn't great, but Lyon at 79 even worse. Turnovers won then 11 to 10. As I said, there was periods in the game where both teams were able to turn each other over almost at will at the breakdown, where they were just getting guys in there. Lioness won then 8 to 10, but the Bulls actually come here at 89% to 71 for Lyon. Again, Lioness steals, I said 0-0, but can't be too sure of that. Scrums won then 7 to 5, 100% each on that. Then onto kicking, kicks from hand 24 to 21, and meters made pretty close, 693 to 657. Retain kicks, so 3 for the Bulls and just 1 for the Lions. And the great thing about this Bulls team is they have all of the weapons in their arsenal, and today they used all of them. They had that kicking game, they obviously have that forwards game, they have the set piece game, and they also have those scintillating backs as well. Sometimes they forget about those backs, and they make it kind of just keeping in the pack and playing kind of 10-man rugby. But today they did well in terms of mixing and matching things, and just too good for Lyon. Onto the breakdown then. Okay, so the breakdown stats definitely not in, because Rook totals 0-0 is definitely wrong. Turnovers won at the Rook or Maul 11 to 10, and then 4 Mauls to 0 for the Bulls. The Maul, not as much of a weapon as maybe we've seen from the Bulls previously. I thought that Lyon did well to cope with it, especially when the Bulls went to a closer line. But the Bulls, again, they had other weapons. They were able to shift the ball and use those big carriers to suck in defense, and then go to the speedsters then and the steppers to get through. Discipline then, penalties conceded. It says 8 to 1 again. I'm not sure about that. there. I think some of these stats definitely need to be updated. 1 yellow card to nil, though, is correct. Just that one for Kane Moody for the seatbelt tackle for at the penalty try. But yeah, I'm not sure why stats aren't like updated. Like it's more than half an hour after the game has finished. So, but yeah, so take some of those stats with a grain of salt. But generally, the stats say pretty much what we saw is that the Bulls were dominant in the game. Just talking about Lyon obviously made a lot of changes from their regular top 14 side, and it's something that you can't really do anything about it in terms of if a team decides that their domestic league is their priority, well then they're going to do that, especially when they have to travel to South Africa as well. They're going to keep their first team or the bulk of it at home, and get them ready for the next top 14 game. But I think as this competition grows over time, we're going to see less of that, because I think just financially it's going to make sense to go deeper in this competition if we can, but maybe that's 5 or 10 years away for it to reach that point. So at the moment we've got to kind of live with that. But Lyon, they did okay for like a team with a lot of players who maybe don't play week in, week out, but you could see that they were totally outmatched against the Bulls. I thought they did well in the first kind of 10 or so minutes before there was any score. They were being very competitive and decent defensively, but you could see that the Bulls were starting to get into their stride then just before they scored. The Bulls, they can only beat what was put in front of them, and they're one of the best teams as well of being ruthless with stuff like that. We've seen them, not necessarily in this competition, but certainly in the URC, just run up a score against a team who aren't on it, and they did it today. And this won't be the last time they're going to do that in this competition either. As the years go by, we're going to see, I think, a more kind of blowouts like this if teams decide that they're not going to take a game against the Bulls as seriously as they should. But some really good positives from the Bulls, but again, just those little errors in terms of switching off is something that they definitely have to iron out ahead of their quarterfinal. But for now, well-deserved win for them, and they march on. One of the great things about it as well, from my point of view, at least as a URC fan, is that we're now guaranteed a team from each of the three competing leagues into the quarterfinals. URC were the only team, or the only league, that weren't guaranteed a team through, because we had like an all-English clash, or we have an all-English clash coming up and an all-French clash coming up, which meant that they were guaranteed one through. We already have Quins through from last night. Glasgow not quite doing it for the URC there, but now with the Bulls, we have at least one URC team through there. So, depending on who they face, it could be an all URC clash actually in their quarterfinal if Munster can somehow get past Northampton, and that would be an absolutely amazing game. But whether it's going to be Northampton versus the Bulls or the Bulls versus Munster, it still looks like a tasty quarterfinal in prospect there.